I am Jeff Ado. This is Lunacy, where we discern the sacred from the insane and admit that whether we like it or not, we are all profoundly affected by the cycles of the moon. How? Today on the podcast, The Mine Part 2. If you didn't hear last week's episode, I highly encourage you to do so. Tony, Lauria, and I go even deeper into the travesty that this mine represents for our community, how our local leaders appear to be failing to stop it from happening, and how critically important it is for you, me, and all of our brothers and sisters to get involved and take a stand. We also throw in some lunacy for good measure. Tony is a fellow lunatic, and he doesn't fail to let his light shine on this week's episode. You are in for a treat. All right. Enjoy this week's episode of Lunacy. Excellent. Welcome back.
Yeah.
This is the mine update. I think we were together in March. That's what I'm saying. All right. I don't know for sure because I can't look at the phone because it's doing the recording right now because that's how I do my business. All right. But I know it was cold and I was wearing a sweater and you were also dressed warmly.
I had clothes on?
It was the one you had clothes on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. We're not going to release the other one.
Yeah. I like to do that Wim Hof method of immerse yourself in the coldest of cold that you can.
Right. Naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's brave. That guy's brave.
Okay, good. So what's happened since March?
I got married. You
Excellent.
you were at my wedding.
We danced.
We danced. Good times.
We
ate. And here we are. Since then, what has happened with the mine? That's the question.
Right. Was focused on the DEIR, Draft Environmental Report.
Impact Report. Draft Environmental Impact Report, right. Which also stands for Dumb Engineering Idea
in County. Anyway, they thousands of pages, and the lawyers from CEA, Community Environmental Advocates, submitted many pages of flaws and deficiencies in that report. And
all kinds of, they just tore it up. A bunch of different organizations, including Sierra Club, right?
Yeah. And I heard from professionals, a neighbor was an ex-land use attorney. He said it was the very worst DEIR he had ever seen. And other people told me the same thing.
Oh, he would know because he's land use attorney.
Yeah.
That means they look at those kind of things.
Right, they look at all that
That's
stuff.
That's a land use attorney business right
So we're thinking, okay, great.
Mm-hmm. It's out. We're done. See you later, Rise Gold.
So since then, though, we've transmutated into some Twilight Zone.
What's that TV show that's so popular, man? Where the Stranger Things. Where they go into the upside down world.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy shit, it's weird and dark and there's like bizarre monsters and I can't remember what else, but there's some stuff in there, man.
Yeah. And that's just what has been happening.
Mm-hmm.
And recently they said, okay, we made just a couple little changes and now here's the final environmental impact report.
When you say they, do you mean Rise Gold made a couple of little changes? Or
no,
the county was like, you got to fix this. And then here we go.
The county reviews the whole thing.
Okay.
And then they make their changes. What we were hoping, because it was so bad, it was so
significantly terrible.
Just significantly the worst thing. Mm-hmm. We were hoping they would say,
you got to redo it and recirculate. You have to redo the draft environment.
It's called recirculate, which means throw it out, start over kind of a thing.
Right.
And they didn't. They went, it's a couple little changes, and now we're going to submit this as the final EIR.
Right.
Right before they submitted, or I guess before they announced the final, we did a presentation to the Board of Supervisors, 5 of us, including the CEA, Community Environmental Advocates president. But we stood up, and you get 3 minutes to talk. Mm-hmm. Which is, again, ridiculous. Here we are pleading, begging for our safety. Okay, you get 3 minutes. So we monopolized it and we had 5 of us speak 3 minutes apiece. But basically what we wanted to do was impress upon the board that we need a well monitoring program for the 300 plus wells that are in the area.
Right.
Without that
would then monitor the wells for like a couple, like
with 3 years.
3 years.
Because you have to cover all the different climate changes through over a period of 3 years.
Oh, I see.
And
so they would have to wait. That's right. They would have to wait 3 years.
In some cases, 3 years isn't even enough to really get a good model of what's going on with your well.
Works. Yeah,
we've got a rainy year, we got a drought year, we got a year, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so we all laid out
flood year,
this stuff. Yeah, that there was precedent set before. They had no domestic well monitoring of all of our, none of that was in there.
Yeah, okay.
They said, we have 15 bores. They're not domestic, they're not on anybody's property. And we're going to use those as a measurement for if anything's happening.
Okay.
While we dewater. So we said, no, a precedent was set years ago when M Gold came in and said, we want to do this drilling. And they said, no. Then the county then stepped up and said, no, you're going to have to monitor 100 and better wells, and you're going to, for volume and quality and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so they're using old data.
So
is that what they're doing?
That's one of the other aspects. They're not even using that data. It's complicated. It gets so complicated. That's why I think eventually lawyers are going to have to all get involved and sort it out.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. Why? So we went to the planning commission meeting. And it was awesome.
Yep. So we had that meeting.
400 people showed up. 500 people, human beings to protest. And why didn't anybody come to this meeting?
And 100. This is the meeting we went to, is just the normal county board of supervisors and planning commission has like one a week. Okay. All the time. On all the different issues that are going on. So this was an opportunity to, and during these meetings that they have, there's a spot for public comment on things. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's jump in to the public comment spot on their regular meeting and say, stop the presses. We want monitoring because it ain't in there. And we live right in ground zero. We need this happening now.
I love that you just went Cajun. You know what I mean? I like that he just came out of the swamp.
He can jump from place to place.
Now he's in Italy.
Okay.
So you are telling them, you are saying to them, hey, look, we for us to get the well monitoring place, you know? All right. So you complained, and they said. So
we said, look, we need this because there was a precedent set earlier. Right. That also this data, this baseline data has to be done and submitted before the DEIR is even created, because it's got to be the base of what they're talking about in terms of the mitigation to wells, to well issues. And so we gave them what for. We told them all this stuff. 5 of us talked about different aspects of this. 2 days later, okay, we've got the final EIR ready for viewing. Anyway, so that was that.
I got it. Here's the question. What's your opinion on why they 2 days later pooped out the final EIR?
I think they already had it done, and they were just placating us, listening to our thing, because that's what they have to do, public comment. Okay, say whatever you got to say. Thank you for that. Bye. And they had it done. We were quite disappointed about that.
Yeah.
That they oh, geez. It took the wind. It was like someone had mentioned, it was a punch in the gut to all the people who live around the mine, all 2,000 or more.
Yeah.
Who live around here. And that's where we're entering into this twilight zone of, wait a minute, there are 84 impacts, and not just little things. We've got asbestos going to fly through the air, and you're going to breathe it. It's going to fly everywhere. There's silica dust in there. There's exhaust emissions of thousands of tons there's
water,
traffic. There's
pollution,
explosives. There's vibration.
Yeah. It's like a calamity. It's like you're reading down the laundry list of the worst possible calamity.
And
that could happen to your neighborhood.
And then add to that, but we're going to start by sucking all the water out of your entire area.
Yeah.
4 million gallons a day.
Lord only knows what it'll do to your aquifer
And
for everybody in this area. Where in California, which, by the way, in case you didn't know, is in a perpetual drought. All right? Have been for years.
Right, yes. So that's one of the things I said, and there's all these facts. There was a Siscon mine up in North San Juan that dried up, lots of wells. Well, here are these facts. And then the granddaddy of all fact, gravity. You can't tell gravity not to draw down the well water in your well separate when they all get sucked dry.
Oh, yeah, right. Exactly.
So gravity is...
I see what you're saying. It's like there's a giant pool of water underground.
Yeah.
And they're going to be sucking out of it like a bunch of assholes.
Yes, right.
With bad straws.
Yeah. Plastic straws. No.
Very long plastic straws.
Plastic straws.
That have murdered at least 16 turtles.
Yeah. So anyway, from all normal perspective, we are in this weird spot where the county seems to be totally disregarding, as if they have a whole different agenda that's hidden to the public that they're working on. Many people say, oh, they're just getting paid off. That's nothing that we can prove. You look at those people, you say, I don't think they're getting paid. Plus, Rise Gold has no money. They've got so little money, they've had to report because they have a publicly traded stock that's in the pennies. And they have to report what their holdings are, and they have less than $1 million or something.
So what's your opinion on why they would do this?
Sometimes it escapes me completely why they would ignore the public's safety in all of this. Mm-hmm. It confounds my little pea brain to think about it. Some have mentioned don't want to get sued by denying this. Mm-hmm. They don't want the Rise Gold Company to come back and sue them. So I don't know what's going through the minds of the county government officials.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been deficient in protection for their constituents, us, the citizens, the community. Mm-hmm.
You're failing big time, all right? Listen, supervisors, you got one job. You know what I mean? Defend the county, provide some services.
But virtually every mine site, and we may have said this before, in the area is still contaminated.
Yeah, exactly. Then they are.
Even the one they're trying to reopen.
1950s, 1970s, 1920s.
100 years ago. 100 years ago.
100 years ago. 1920.
This Idaho Maryland Mine was 70 years ago was the last time it was open.
Okay.
And it's still contaminated, and they're shirking that. Oh, yeah, we'll clean that up later. We'll clean that up later.
Yeah, no problem. It's not causing any harm. Don't worry about it. But don't fish here, whatever you do. And if you stick your feet in the water, they'll melt off.
That's right.
So don't touch the water with any part of your body, all right? Or anything plastic or flammable. Okay, it doesn't say all of that. But it does say don't get in the water. Definitely says that. And it does also say this is an active cleanup site.
And Lost Lake has all those signs around there. So Wolf Creek has those signs over by that one where they had a big sinkhole.
We went over that in part 1.
Yeah.
So the theories are, number 1, they're getting paid off, which we think is highly unlikely. Because it would be so easy to figure that out.
Yeah, it's unlikely. And
2,
I don't think so.
Theory number 2 is that they want to put the onus on the community to sue the company. And which also, by the way, could be tied to, this is the theory that I believe, could be tied to they don't want to go bankrupt in the county. And if they get sued by Rise Gold, they might have to fight it, and it might be a big hassle. That's my thought. Or 3, aliens, right? Aliens. Rise Gold is actually operated by aliens.
Okay.
Green. Maybe they might be gray.
Big eyes, large skull.
Something like that.
They got appendages?
Mm-hmm. The little ones, yeah. So anyway, 3 aliens. There's no other theories, right?
Yeah. It reminds me of a court case I was a juror on where we all decided at the end, no, that's it. We're going to vote it this way. And we get out there and one of the ladies says, can't we give her just a little bit of something? We're going to deny her claim, but can't we just give her something? I said, no, it's either you deny or not. And I think they're trying to do this where Rise Gold has put in a lot of millions in all of this effort to propose and make the report, and they've paid all this stuff. So I think the county doesn't want to just go shove it off the edge and go, no.
They're doing Rise Gold a favor.
So they're doing Rise a bit of a favor. The fourth. Yeah. That saying you've invested all this time and money in this, and we can't just throw you under the bus, which in weirdly ironic way, they're throwing us under the bus by doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But they still have to vote yay or nay on it, don't they?
Then, yes, there will be one more meeting at the county, which is the one I would so love to see.
This is the one we need to get.
5,000 people.
All of you
there
listening, any ears that have
we really
access to this information, we need your whole body to come to this meeting on whenever it is. We'll let you know.
Everybody, your dog, your cats, whoever you can bring. Everybody, your ghosts.
Bring your pet porcupine.
Yeah,
if you can.
Everybody.
Tigers.
If you got any mannequins, dolls, stuff,
bring mannequins. Now you're talking. Blow up dolls. Anything that looks remotely like a bipedal human.
Because that is the time when we need to impress upon the Board of Supervisors that the entire county is against this. And if you vote for it, there's going to be some repercussions. I know there was one guy that wrote a thing in the Union article recently that said, if you vote for this, our priority will be shifted to removing all of you from Hollywood.
Which for sure, that'll be my game. In case any of the supervisors actually listen to this, you will never get elected ever again to anything, even in Iceland. Yeah. I will travel to Iceland and fucking prevent you from becoming the mayor of Klutberg. Okay?
But what about Svalbard?
I'll travel to Svalbard. All right? By biplane. All right? So we need people at that meeting.
We need people at that meeting, because that's when really it's going to get real as it can ever get. Right before that, though, I must say, there's a point soon when the planning department will either certify or reject the final EIR. That was what our meeting presentation was.
Oh, so they haven't actually done that yet.
They haven't certified and said, okay, we will go with this. And then if they do certify, then they give a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors.
Yep.
They say, we've certified it and we recommend that. But after that, then the board goes, okay, we're going to have our big whatever powwow.
Big bonanza powwow. Ladies and gentlemen, at the Nevada County Supervisor's Office. We're going to decide that we're going to do this or not.
We're going to vote it, and we're going to vote yes or no, and that's when we want to say no.
But we would like the
Planning Commission now to say no, you can't have it.
Wow. If you say it like that, they're definitely going to vote for it.
No.
They're going to be like, get that guy out of here and let's have a gold mine. Okay? All right. Let's call Christy. Let's get her.
Well, hey, stranger.
Christy of the Hubbardness, is this you?
All right. So, Christy, Tony was catching me up. And hopefully, anyway, Tony was just catching me up on kind of what's happened recently and where we're at. And you and I had spoken. I know that they have to certify the FEIR, the F and Environmental Impact Report. Mm-hmm. And then there's like a big meeting, and then there'll be a vote.
There's a couple more steps than that, but okay.
Okay. And then, we just were wondering, first, what's your opinion on why did they say, hey, go ahead, this is the final environmental impact report? Why would the county supervisors do that?
I can't answer that definitively. What's true is that we, the community, think that the final environmental impact report is a big disappointment. There are major flaws that were in the draft EIR that they persisted and continued with in the final EIR. And why they chose to push it to final is one of the great mysteries. So I don't have a definitive answer on that.
That's very diplomatic. She's a good diplomat. I think we should, you know what? County supervisor. Yeah. Christy, when you're ready to run, we got your 2 campaign managers.
I think she's saying this is like the pyramids, one of those great mysteries. We don't know who built those things.
Right.
Yeah. No. Anything that I could say would be speculation, and I don't want to repeat that. Right?
Again.
That's just speculation. But
career in politics again. There we go. I love it.
Politics are politics, right? There's what the community wants. restaurants, and then there's politics, right? Those are two different things. So at any rate, but no, what's true is that we know that Rise has been short on money, and there's probably some pressure to get this thing resolved. That's a speculation. We don't know where the county is at on this, but what we do know is that there are major flaws in the final EIR that really, there's plenty of things that really are not compliant with CEQA, and those are going to be legally challengeable. The first ask of the county from this community is to simply not certify the EIR. That's because certify is different than approving. Certify simply means it's complete and adequate.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And we don't believe that it's complete or adequate.
No.
Right?
At least three of us.
And that's really what the step number one is, to ask the planning commissioners simply to not certify this thing.
And do we have an opportunity to do that? And when is that?
Absolutely. So even though this is final, the community has the right and the ability to make comments all the way up until that first public meeting, which we're all waiting for it. They said not before February the 1st. Right? But there's going to be the first public meeting is on the final EIR itself, and the community can comment all the way up to that, and those comments will be effectively taken into account in those decisions, even though we're not trying to revise the EIR anymore. It's a question of how they vote at this point in time.
How can people comment?
Yeah, where can people comment? Thank you.
If people want to send comments to the Planning Commission about the EIR, they can send their letter to Idaho, like IDAHO dot MMEIR at co.nevada.ca.us. IDAHO dot MMEIR at co.nevada.ca.us.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Got it. That's good. Very good. Excellent.
And if you want to know what to say in that comment, you could look at the minewatch.mc.org website.
Minewatchnc.org.
You'll get all kinds of stuff there.
And there are facts that you can copy over and comment on, right?
The biggest message that we hope everybody will deliver to the supervisors is really just say no, right? If the time has come to tell commissioners and supervisors to just say no to this assault on our community. Just say no to this project. It's really an unprecedented assault on our community. This project includes significant and unavoidable environmental impacts, and the environmental report really didn't stand up, telling that a few jobs and uncertain tax revenues just aren't worth the risk.
No, not worth the risk.
Yeah.
And the dangers to our community are not worth the risk. And the gold is not worth the risk. The gold that's going to go to Canada. Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or at least the profits will go
Yeah.
to all those investors.
Well,
yeah.
The money does not come to us. Some money will, but not nearly as much as Rise would like to have you believe.
Then as a resident, as I said the other day in my comment to the Planning Commission, nothing will be to my benefit whatsoever for this.
That's the truth.
Zero. And not only that, it will be the complete opposite.
Right.
I will just wreak havoc from
Yeah.
it.
You're going to be paddling a shit boat down Shit Creek. You know what I mean? To Shit Town. All right?
And Tony, I loved what you said in front of the planning commissioners the other day, because you said, you were talking about all the well owners in the area, and you said, you know what? None of us asked for this to happen to our homes.
Yeah.
Right? None
Yeah.
of us want to be thinking about having a home that might not have water. How in the world do you sell a house with no water?
Yeah,
Or
right.
how do you even think about having to run through Rise Gold to figure out how to get an NID hookup?
Yeah.
What? How does that work?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. And we didn't all get together on a neighborhood meeting and say, you know, what would be a good idea is to get the gold mine open, and that would be so much fun.
No, I didn't have that meeting, did you?
No, I wasn't there either. It was weird. The three of us.
Once we're done and we actually get this thing voted down, then let's go back to our general plan. Let's go put some real protections in, because this community doesn't need this. I just can't. How many thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people's hours have been spent fighting this thing. And I get that a business gets to apply to do business, but boy, has it created such a firestorm and an unnecessary waste of time for the county, for the supervisors, for the commissioners, for the staff, and for the community.
For sure. I mean, though it has brought us together, which is, that's good. That the one good thing is that now I know you two. So it has brought us together in a way. And I think that that's like the only good thing that has come out of the whole deal is that now there's kind of a united front against that kind of pilfering of the land. And it's like it's taking an environmental stand that I think a lot of people haven't taken before.
There is precedent for that. There are other counties who have set boundaries and no mining within X distance of residential stuff. So it's real, and we should think about that. But let's do one step at a time. In terms of opportunities to engage with the county on this, there are public opportunities. The board and the planning commissions both meet every 2 weeks, and there's always opportunity for public comment. So anybody can go in and speak live. This is in addition to sending letters, of course. But there is going to be a public hearing that's specific to all your final comments on the environmental impact report. And they're also going to be considering things about project entitlements, things like that zoning change that they need to do to add mineral extraction to that Brunswick site, things like that. So the first public hearing will be about the FEIR and the project entitlements. And we are waiting to hear on when that will happen. They said no sooner than February. We still haven't heard, and who knows, they may only give us a couple of weeks notice. So we really encourage everybody to just stay tuned, listen, read the newsletters, follow social media, just stay tuned because we might not have a lot of notice on it. After that, then the planning commission will go into their little chambers and make a recommendation about whether or not they're going to certify. Assuming that it moves forward, then there would be yet one more public hearing with the Board of Supervisors.
After they have certified it or not.
After that, and then again, they won't be making the decision that day. They'll go back to their little hidey holes and they'll make their decisions. So that's kind of how the flow works.
All right, cool. That's great, Christy. Thank you so much for the update. I really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, and thanks for what you're doing there.
We'll be in touch soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
Okay, ciao, bye.
One of the added gifts of irritation is that we have the Rise Gold CEO continuing to send his press releases.
Oh, really? I haven't got. Oh man, I want to get one of those.
That says, I think the last one said, the community overwhelmingly supports this now, and that because the county has submitted the final EIR, that means they're in favor of it as well.
When did they put that out? December 16th?
Right after the FEIR was designated as complete. And
Rise Gold reports favorable final EIR for Idaho Maryland Mine project.
Yeah.
Wow. Final independent report by Nevada County confirms no significant air, biological, water, vibration, or noise impacts from the project.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah. No significant.
Hearings for approval of you. They're just trying to get more money.
Yeah.
Obviously. God,
What
so
world?
down and dirty.
In what world would that be true? No world. Mining is full of impacts that are significant.
Whoa. Strong local support. The majority of residents support the mine reopening as well as associated economic development and well-paying jobs.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Yes.
No, we don't.
That is such.
For the record, there's no local support that we have seen. The vast majority of residents, the entire majority of residents do not support the mine reopening as well or any of the economic development and well-paying jobs. Yeah. That is such bullshit. Jobs that are super skilled, that they could not even possibly hire somebody from this area if they needed a job. Yeah. They would have to bring them in. Yeah. They're not getting that job. Yeah. Okay.
There's a thing I just heard called fly in, fly out employees. And this would be full of that. Fly in, fly out. And where do they live? They will be taking over housing that should be going to the local people here.
Yeah.
And wow. If that were to happen.
It's just down and dastardly, and I'm not into it. Know what I mean? Yeah. And neither should you be. So people I really want to stress that this is a really good opportunity for people to actually get involved with something, no matter where you live.
I just want to make sure people stand up for this, even if it's just because quite a few people will say, "Oh, I don't want to get involved. I don't want the mine, but I don't ask me to do anything." Well, this is going to be very easy. You're just going to show up at the Rood Center when that meeting comes, and you're going to say no. Or
Absolutely.
the other people that don't want to get involved writing a bunch of stuff to the comment, they could put, "No, I don't want this in my community," and submit that as a comment. You don't have to be a scholar to write or you have read the 10,000 pages of the EIR to find out what you need to say about this. You just say, "I am a community resident that does not want this because it will change the way of life here."
Exactly. That's exactly right.
we
And
do-
if you're elsewhere, if you're out there in internet land and you really care about this, go to the show notes. There's going to be links to petitions where you can sign that you are against this kind of action. You can make comments from wherever you are because this is our planet and this is our land collectively. So if you want to make a difference, if you want to actually speak out against this, if you want to become a part of the movement to stop the Idaho Maryland mine, see the show notes, go to minewatchnc.org and get involved. I highly encourage you to do that. It's you taking a stand for the planet, and it's a really great way to feel good about yourself. Am I right, Tony?
I believe so, yes.
You get involved in something like this, you help save people's wells, save people's homes, you know what I mean? The air quality.
Save people's health. Frankly, we would have to move if that thing got approved.
For sure.
There's no way we can live a mile from that and breathe the same air.
You know what? I meant to tell you something. I got some real good news for you, Tony.
What is it?
If you have to move out, we have some room in our garage.
Okay.
It's not heated or cooled or anything like that. And there's some boxes in there, but I think you could live in there. You can we can set out a little porta potty or something outside for you.
We have our little travel trailer. Can I put it right in your yard over here?
Yep, sure. And oh, wow, that's a real deal.
How's that?
Okay, all right. Shit, man. I just actually signed up
And
to
then
have
can
move
you,
in.
right. And we're going to pull it right. And if you could get a link into your septic system, that'd be great.
Oh, right. Okay,
All
good.
right.
Honey, we have a problem. Sorry. Tony's staying. He moved in.
Okay.
All right. TV continued. Get those miners, man. All right.
All right.
Goodness. Much love.
Ciao.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Lunacy. Thank you so much for listening. Special thanks to my good friend and comedic cohort, Tony Lauria. May we stop this mine in its tracks for good and forever. If you want to get involved, please visit minewatchnc.org. That's minewatch, N as in Nancy, C as in cow.org. Thank you again so much for listening. If you want to, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Tell your friends about it. Subscribe, download episodes. We're trying to keep this thing going, okay? Lunacy was created by myself and is written by myself and also edited by my good friend Kimberly Bridges. Thanks so much for listening. See you next week. Much love.